All right, we are making puff pastry wrapped salmon and puff pastry wrapped chicken breast. So you'll have both of the recipes. They're both the same. I'll talk about it, except that I'm going to do something with the chicken breast that is different. First, I'm going to start with the chicken breast simply because it takes the longest to cook and, and cool off. So I pounded the breast until it was all about the same size. This is a really good recipe for like 2 people. This is plenty for 2 people. 1 chicken breast that has been pounded. Oh, I guess it's about a ½ inch thick. And obviously it was in the freezer. And I'm going to put it into a pan that has a little bit of olive oil in it already. And we're going to brown it, not cook it, brown it for, say, until it's brown on both sides. So it's probably about 3 or 4 minutes on each side. And I'm going to go wash my hands now. So I'm going to start doing the spinach, which, by the way, oh, here comes Pam. By the way, is a really good recipe for just a side of spinach. It's a good recipe. This is a ½ of a huge onion. See that size? You'd use a smaller onion. You can use shallots. I wouldn't use green onion in this recipe. And you're just cooking it, chopping it into small dice. And I'm going to start heating up the olive oil here in a separate pan. So this is simplicity itself. Onions, garlic, salt and pepper, and spinach, fresh spinach. You'll see what we do with it in a minute. So, I didn't even think about people who didn't like salmon. So when you said, Carrie, that you were with somebody who hated salmon, I thought, oh, well, I know I can do this. I know it's fine. Pam, how are you? Can't hear you. Yay. Okay.
Good. Thank you. Sorry I'm late.
No. We waited for a while. Okay. I'm going to put this where people can see it. You're just sauteing the onions until they get a little bit soft, which will take about 3 to 4 minutes. The chicken is getting nice and brown. Again, it's not cooking all the way through. It's going to go into the oven so that it will be just fine. So I thought I had invented this recipe because I made it up, and I didn't. I went online and it's all over the place online, but I did it myself without the recipe, so what can I say? I'm just, oh, hi! How are you?
Wonderful. It's so good to see you.
Good to see you too.
We're sauteing onions.
Very nice.
And sauteing
Yes.
chicken breast. So,
Everything's right.
So Kate, was that a skinless or skinned chicken?
boneless, skinless, boneless, well trimmed.
Oh, okay.
So it's very lean, and you can get them at the supermarket prepared. I actually boned it out, and because I had one in the freezer, I boned it out and took the skin off, but you don't have to do that. So this guy is pretty much done for what I want it for. And I'm just gonna put it to cool off a bit. I'm gonna move the onion over. And you can see they're sort of getting translucent. They're not nearly, they're looking like they're getting done. That was just a tiny little bit of olive oil on the bottom. You can also use butter if you want, or a combination. Then, but you don't want to add the garlic while you're cooking this, because garlic will cook faster and can burn, and you really don't want burnt garlic. It tastes very bitter and yucky, and you don't like it. So, whoops. It is about, it's almost done. It's not a big deal. It's almost done. You can see it's starting to look very translucent. Not brown, though you could brown this if you wanted to. It wouldn't make any difference. And a good amount of garlic, because why not? And this is about 6 ounces of baby spinach. 5 or 6 ounces. I'm making quite a bit. If you were doing only 1 chicken breast for 2 people, I'd say cut it down a little bit, but what the hell? Why not? Now, this looks like it's an amazing amount of spinach. It's not. It's really not an amazing amount of spinach. It's already beginning to wilt really far down. And I'm going to throw the whole thing in. Why not? Now, if you wanted to, you could do frozen spinach. you just, you defrost it, throw it in, make sure that the water was kind of like squished out of it. As it is, it doesn't matter. And you can see it goes down really far. Nothing. Here we go. Now, I want to say something about this. At this point, you pour a little bit of cream in there, and it goes great with steak. It's a side dish that tastes wonderful. So I've served it for steak. I've served it for barbecues. You can put a little white sauce in it, and you've got cream spinach. It's all good. And I'm going to put it in a bowl and let it cool off slightly, because you don't want to put it in, you don't want to put it onto puff pastry dead hot. I have turned my oven on to 375, and it's ready for me. So there we go. That's the spinach part of it. And we're going back over here to look at some salmon. So here's the salmon. Again, I'm using a separate board. You know, this had onions on it. Salmon will be fine on the same board. Though if I didn't want whatever it is, taste of onion, I'd use a clean board. But there you go. This is about a pound of salmon. I ordered it from Vaughn's, picked it up. I didn't know what I was getting. This will easily serve 2 people. Easily, dead easy. But one of the things that I don't like is the skin. So I'm going to get the skin off, which is, and you're just taking a knife and pulling it back. Make sure your knife is pretty sharp, and you get rid of the skin.
So Kate, what kind of knife is that?
It's a boning knife, but any kind of knife that's very sharp, you could probably, let's see, you could do it with this one, the chef's knife. You do it slowly and kind of carefully, and don't be upset. You know, don't get, this doesn't matter. Don't get yourself crazy over this. As long as you're not cutting down or deeply into it, you're fine. And like I said, I'm pulling back on it. Look, I made a big hole. Who cares? This is going to be covered up anyway. If it doesn't matter what it looks like, don't sweat it. And I would do this before, a while before, particularly if it's your first time, because you're gonna, you know, like, oh my God, I have to do it right. No, you don't. Just make yourself go slow and careful. ta-da, and it looks great, and you don't have to deal with this shit. Okay. Now, if I were doing individual servings, I probably would do this in 3s, you know, and that would be about 5 ounces each. Though that kind of, yeah, it would be about maybe 4 or 5 ounces each. If you're buying it from the supermarket, probably without skin, if you ask the guy to remove the skin, this would probably be enough for 3 or 4 people, maybe. At least 3. But somebody with a lot of, somebody who really likes this, it's going to be a while. I'm going to stir this up so that it's not quite so hot. I'm going to put this whole thing in a puff pastry. I'm going to put the whole thing in. It will go in, it could probably be the right size to go in a toaster oven. But you could cut it up, do it individual portions, and that would be fine too. So I'm going to move this to the side. Wash my hands one more time. And then, oh, I almost forgot. I'm going to toss in some Parmesan cheese into that spinach. It's still hot. If I had forgotten it, it wouldn't have mattered. But it tastes good. So you got Parmesan cheese in there. All right. So here we go. This is my Smart and Final puff pastry. I love it. I love Smart and Final puff pastry because you get 9 in a box and you take it out and it will thaw in about 30 minutes. So I took it out an hour ago and covered it up. You got to make sure it's covered so that it doesn't get hard. And you're rolling it out so that, well, I'm rolling it out so that I'll get at least 1 for the chicken and 1 for the salmon. And this will be nice and puffy and wonderful.
If you're just doing like one big chicken one, would you roll it out still the same, but just make it big?
Yeah, no, you just roll it out until you can fold it over, okay? You're going to be folding this over, and I'm going to be folding it over like that for this. So I want it just a tiny bit. There we go. And this stuff is very forgiving. It's not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. So I'm going to first do the salmon. And it's going to work like this. I want to make sure I got it right. You can see I'm not making sure that it's exactly, you know. So I'm going to put a thin layer of spinach down. Put the salmon on it, like this. A little bit of salt and pepper. And a thin layer of salmon on top. Sorry, hiding. Now it's already got some Parmesan in it, but I like a little bit of Boursin because it tastes great. This is garlic and fine herbs. But you don't have to put it on. I've cooked it without the Boursin. I'm sure that if I should probably do something that makes it look better, but I'm not doing that today. I'm gonna wash my hands. I have an egg wash, egg mixed with a little bit of water. And we're going to do this. Now, I think it would be better, to tell you the truth, if I got it on the board before I did anything else. Because these things are notoriously difficult to get. There we go. So I've got that. You fold over the top. And I'm folding over the edges. And it looks like a little package, which is quite lovely and just fine. You can make designs or not, but you do need to have some sort of vents on top.
Okay, Kate, totally weird question, but I did an egg wash on something the other night and Noelle hates eggs and she actually tasted it. Can you do it without the egg wash?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. If you want it a little shiny, just put it with water, just water. You do not have to do the egg wash at all. I like it because it makes it all golden. And now that looks, you know, this looks pretty special.
Yep.
And it is going in the oven right now while I make the chicken one. Hang on for 1 second. Hi, Mariana.
Hi. How
I
are
didn't
you?
see you come in. That's
I
so
know. I just got back from the grocery store. It took forever. How are you?
great. Great. Let me get another crazy big. Okay. This one is the chicken one, made exactly the same way. You've got the other half of the puff pastry. You're going to put half of the spinach down. There you go. put the chicken breast that you've browned on top of it. The other half on top. And the Boursin. I'm going to use a knife for this one because the other one was unbelievably messy. You're not using the whole thing, you're cheesing it up, okay? And now, if you weren't using egg wash, you would use water for this to make it stick together. Now I'm going to do something weird, or maybe not. I'll just do the same thing. I was going to fold it over, but I'm going to do this. And doing exactly the same thing with this one. You're putting it in for 35 minutes. This was 30 to 35 minutes until it's nice and brown. And there you go. And see what I can do with this one. Oh, I'll do the same thing. Now, if you were serving this, if you wanted to get this done, if you wanted to do this for a dinner party and you wanted to get this done ahead of time, you're not going to put the egg wash on it. You're going to cover it with foil or saran wrap and stick it in the fridge. You can make it in the morning and then stick it in the fridge, and it's completely done. Now you can make this individually too. I could have cut it in half, made 2 of them, just exactly the same way. You can make them like super fancy, you know, but you've got it. And this can go in the fridge for like 12 hours ahead of time. And I'm going to put it because I've got that in the oven right now, but I'll be cooking it later tonight. Again, 30 minutes and it's done. Okay, 30. Carrie, what were you saying?
30 minutes. That was my question. My question was how long in the oven?
Yeah, until it gets nice and brown. The salmon depends on how cold it is. This will take about 30 minutes for the chicken to get done. If you have an instant read thermometer, you might want to check it, but in 30 minutes, it'll be done for sure. You've already browned it on both sides. Now, it looks really spectacular when you put it on a plate. It looks like, oh my God, how shishi, you know, all of that stuff. And you can see it was hardly anything. Another thing about the spinach in this, it really works really well with the salmon, but you could do a mushroom for the chicken. You could do mushroom and onion and garlic. If you had kale, you could use kale. Oh, I know. I don't like kale either, Carrie. But you could do it. I mean, this is one of those things that Carrie and I were talking about. If you want to try something, you haven't wasted a lot of money or a lot, and honestly, almost anything you do to this thing is going, other than burn it, is going to taste good. You know, I might try doing some of that magic meat stuff.
What's that?
Oh,
What's the
Impossible
magic
Burger.
meat stuff? What is that?
I've been doing some cooking with Impossible Burger lately.
Oh, okay.
And what I found is when I cook with Impossible Burger, things turn out a little more salty than I want them
Oh,
to.
okay.
And I'm not sure if it's because Impossible Burger is more
It's
salty, or it just absorbs the salt that I add.
Ah,
So that's something I
gotcha.
have to figure out. But what I was telling Kate and what I've learned from this experience cooking with her is that there's so much wiggle room in all of these recipes. It just,
Right.
you know, and when I cook with my mom on Sundays, and my brother gets really mad when I don't follow the recipe. But I'm like, but I had this instead of this, and I don't like that.
Right.
I put this in.
Well, and I've stopped asking the questions because, like, I was just going to say, have you made it with like the salmon fillets, the frozen ones from Costco? You know, I tend to have, and you could probably do it with like mahi-mahi even, a different fish. I love the.
But I would
Okay.
willing to bet you could.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd be willing to bet.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's Susan.
Susan.
So I honestly, it would be, you know,
Worth a try.
and honestly, what are you losing on this?
Right.
If you're trying it, I mean, hi, Susan.
You're
You
muted.
You're-
Susan's hilarious. We can't hear you at all.
For you, Susan.
Susan, unmute.
Mute. Okay. Wait, everybody. Hi.
Hello.
Whew.
Did you get your-
Everyone, by the way, this is my good friend Kimberly. We're here at her house visiting.
Hi, Kimberly.
Hello.
So that means you drove to Vegas? Is that where isn't that where
You
Kimberly-
did. Yep.
You drove to Vegas? Cool.
We've been sequestering, so we are so ready.
Yeah, I mean, they've been totally locked down for 3 months.
I
So,
left
have
my
we.
house in Vegas.
So I was like,
Crazy.
we're going to come and enjoy your pool.
Well, Kimberly,
My-
you look great. You
Oh,
look like you're
yeah.
dressed. You look awesome.
So where are we with the salmon?
in the oven,
In the oven.
Good.
rerun.
Yeah, I have to apologize to all of you ladies because last week's homemade pasta did not record.
Uh-oh.
So I apologize, and maybe we'll just do it again.
We'll survive, Carrie. No
I
problem.
know. I was like, oh, but I figured it out. It's when I only click on our meeting. When I click on it from my actual account, it records automatically as soon as I log on. But when I do it from my calendar, it doesn't.
I figured that out too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So it
Pam,
not
did you
record.
find a machine?
I got a machine.
You got one?
Yeah, but
Pam,
my
did
pasta
you get
also
yours,
turned
Pam?
out a little salty.
You know what? I have mine, but I already have made it by hand once. My granddaughter, which is one of the reasons I wanted the machine, I thought Jordan would love to do it. She's on her no pasta kick. You know, brother loves pasta, so this week she's on salads. I said, you know what? I think for a while I'm just going to do it by hand.
Okay.
And then maybe, I think I may return it. I don't know. I'm debating.
Well, I took that Kate's advice of over salting the water a little too
Right.
seriously, and my pasta was way salty. It
Salty.
was not. So I need to remember that. Again, because I love salt, I tend to over salt anyway, and so it was way salty. So it's it's a trial and error.
Well, it's a good sign, right? If you can smell and taste everything, that means you're not sick with COVID.
Right.
It's true.
Exactly true.
There you go.
Gotta look on the bright side, right?
Right.
So everybody is having salmon for dinner, is that it?
Well, we
Oh, but
could not
me.
find puff
Not
pastry
me.
here in Vegas, so we're having tacos.
Oh, okay.
Chicken tacos.
But I'm going to make zucchini from my garden
Nice.
because I forgot to order this the asparagus.
Mm.
I'm sure it's going to be fine.
It doesn't matter. That's our motto around here.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
As long as it's a nice green veg.
Gorgeous.
No, the stuff she grows in her garden is unreal.
I know.
Got a creature eating it.
Ah,
I don't
is it the tortoise?
squirrels or rats or large insects. I don't know.
Well, you do
They're-
still have a tortoise loose in your garden, Kate.
I know I do. And that tortoise is
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
part of plants? It's just
Did they give you a tortoise or did somebody leave it there?
Ami had a tortoise.
Wow. And
And
it's
it
just living
escaped.
there?
And it went to live with grandma.
Wow. That's amazing.
Well,
And-
it showed up, what was it, Kate, 2 years ago? It just emerged out of the garden and we were like, oh my God.
Keeping it
It was the same one, the same tortoise?
Yeah.
Well, they live forever.
only about 4 times the size it was.
Yeah.
And now, who knows?
It's a very well-fed tortoise. I mean, you know, if we know Kate's garden, it's a
Right.
very well-fed tortoise.
Hey, Kate, I got a question for you. Are your figs getting ripe yet?
No. No,
Are they?
no. August.
August, okay. I sent Stuart out for figs and he said the figs aren't ready.
Love fish.
No.
I said, how do you know? He said, because I asked every greengrocer up and down the street. And I guess because we've had cool weather, you know.
Vegas, they're doing fine.
There, see?
They're ready in Vegas.
Oh.
I'm just lusting after some fig jam.
No. I have some. I should, well,
You can't. I'll just have to wait till there's figs, that's all.
so
So how did the encroute do? Did everybody do encroute? Bonnie, did you do one?
We just watched.
Yeah, we all watched, Kate.
Oh, you all watched?
Nobody cooked today.
Oh, okay, then I don't feel so
Usually
bad.
just me, so.
I've been at a crime writers conference.
Ooh.
ooh. It's just beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful and if you surround it with salad or a green vegetable,
You
it's
serve it in slices.
Oh, it looks beautiful, Kate.
Mhm.
and you can do it individually and then put them in the fridge, like I said, and you've got everything you need here except for the salad or a green vegetable for dinner. Always nice.
But the spinach is kind of a green vegetable too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's definitely healthy.
Yeah.
Hang on.
But you could go out there and fight the tortoise for some salad fixings.
If Kate were serving it for dinner, it would be served with a side of rice and some rolls and pie for dessert, because it's always like carbs 4 ways at
Kate's house.
I've
Which is
been
the
making,
best.
Kate, I've been making your rice constantly, the way you did it, you know. I don't know why. I mean, I make homemade rice, you know, regular rice, but I just don't, I do more potatoes, I think, for a carb. All of a sudden, I've been just doing your rice. That is the easiest thing in the world.
It's
I
the
love
easiest. I taught my mom. She was like, well, how do you do rice? And I was like, I'll do it like this, Mom. And it'll be perfect every time.
I know.
Look how
That's been
perfect
cool.
that
I've gotten so
salmon
many
is.
good
Oh,
hints.
look at that. That's beautiful.
Oh,
That's
look,
gorgeous.
beautiful.
So there
But
you go. A very she thing and the chicken is in I just put the chicken in just because.
Mhm.
That'll be for another 30 minutes, which you're not going to see that,
Right.
Mhm.
but it will be fun.
It's beautiful.
Yay!
There you go.
Perfect. Beautiful.
I was wondering, would you guys like me to make pie crust next week?
Ooh, yes.
Sure.
It's like fun.
Could make a pie.
We're gonna make pie.
And so I thought we talked about it, Carrie and I talked about it, that maybe you would like a peach blueberry.
Oh, yes, that sounds really
Wow.
good.
Because
Peach blueberry, are you with me?
Lovely.
I'm the consultant on this call. She's like, what would you like to eat?
blueberries are out there and they're cheap, and then peaches are out there.
Yep.
So
And we're gonna use we're gonna use fresh peaches, right? And then turn them into filling. Okay.
Yeah.
fresh peaches, the pie. We're going to cook the pie for 45 minutes, so it probably isn't going to be. Maybe I'll make a pie that you can see what it looks like.